What's up, Pinky Boy here, and today I have some Icarus gameplay and review for you. In this video, we will hopefully be answering the big question, is Icarus worth playing going into 2022? So I've been playing Icarus since the first beta weekend and I've been enjoying it very much. Now the problem is, it's hard for me to tell you if this is a game you should buy. Everybody is looking for something different in a game, so someone telling you a game is good, I don't think it means much. So what I want to do instead is give you an idea of the key features of the game, and by the end of this video I hope to have given you a good enough picture of the game for you to decide if Icarus is a game worth playing for you. If at any point you find this video entertaining and useful, please take a few seconds to hit like and comment below, and if you want to join the grid, which is our Discord community, the link is in the description and pinned comment. Let's start with what Icarus is and what the key features are. Icarus is a session-based player versus environment survival and crafting game for up to 8 co-op players set on the failed terraformed planet Icarus. Rocketworks started the development of Icarus in 2018 and the game was made available for beta access in the fourth quarter of 2021. Icarus sits on 12,000 mixed reviews on Steam, and as of making this video, they have a daily average player count of around 25,000 players, with peaks of 50,000 players. The game has seen steady player base numbers since its release on December 4th, with no significant increase or drop in player count. But new games, especially survival games, usually see a massive player count drop soon after release, so I believe Icarus is doing a pretty good job so far. The backstory and lore is quite extensive, but here is the very short version of it to get you oriented in the Icarus story. After saving Earth from a climate emergency using genetically engineered enzymes, humanity's ambition had grown. This growing ambition was to terraform Wolf 1061Ca, a moon in the Wolf 1061 system, some 4 light years away from Earth. The goal was to cool and filter Wolf 1061Ca's atmosphere before releasing plant and animal life engineered to thrive there. Terraforming derailed catastrophically, lacing the oxygen atmosphere with toxins. In the demise of this new world, the planet was given a new name, Icarus. Amidst all of this, humanity had discovered something on Icarus, exotics, which was the cause of the terraforming's failure, but more importantly, was of incredible value. And just like the gold rush, prospectors flocked to Icarus for a chance to strike exotics. Once on the station orbiting the new world, prospectors are given opportunities on different faction-owned prospects on the surface. But do not miss your ride back. If the timer runs out, you will be left on Icarus forever. Now let's look at some of the key features that, in my opinion, set this survival game apart. First, we have the session-based game loop, which, without being novel, we have rarely seen in this type of game. Through the mission board, you will be offered multiple missions, with different rewards, varying levels of difficulty, and different time limits to complete. Once on the surface, you must do your usual survival game things. Gather resources, craft items, build a base, monitor oxygen, hunger, and thirst levels, and of course complete your assigned mission. Once you have completed your mission, which must be done before the mission timer runs out or otherwise you lose your character, you must extract via your pod and rejoin the orbital station, where you will be given your reward in the form of Ren currency or exotics. In the station, you can then use those currency to research and craft items from the workshop. You can bring those items on your next drop, which will make your initial setup faster and make surviving easier. You can play solo on the prospects or with up to 8 friends that can help with the missions, but once everyone has left and the prospect is completed, everything on that prospect is lost. You do not have a permanent base on mission-based prospects. If you're looking for longevity and replayability, this mission system will give it to you. You do have to start over, but in this setting, I find it way less annoying than, let's say, something like a forced wipe, which any survival game player is familiar with. But permanent bases can be built in outposts, which is some sort of creative mode. There is no timer, and whatever is built in the outpost stays there, even if you bring all your characters out of the outpost. Now let's talk about the progression mechanics of Icarus. There are 3 means of progression in Icarus: the crafting blueprints, the talents, and the workshop items. Now keep in mind, the dev team is making regular updates and hotfixes that often include balancing changes. So there is no doubt in my mind that the information I'll be giving here will change over time, but the core ideas should remain. As you progress in levels, you will be given blueprint points, which you use to unlock craftable items in the crafting tree. The level cap is 99, and once you reach that point, you will have enough points to unlock everything in the tree, which means you must choose what you want to craft first, and ultimately you will be able to craft everything. As you progress in levels, you will also receive talent points. Talents will either improve aspects of your character or unlock special blueprints. Now, as you progress in levels, you will not receive enough points to unlock all the talents. So you must specialize and have a progression plan before you start spending talent points. As of making this video, there is no way to respec your talent points, but this is something that is brought up often, and I do expect some form of talent point respec ability to make its way in the game at some point. There is a talent tree dedicated to solo players, but these talents are active only if you play solo. If there is another player on the prospect, these talents do not work. Then we have the workshop items, which you research and craft with currency, and you can bring these items on your prospects to make your life easier. And of course, as you complete harder, better paying missions, you can research better and more expensive gear. Your currencies and loadout items are shared between all of your characters on the station, but gear used by a character on the prospect won't be usable by your other characters. As far as survival mechanics go, they're simple, but they do the job. You will have to monitor hunger, thirst, oxygen, and environmental stats like heat, cold, and diseases. Using talent points, you can select talents that will make you less prone to hunger, thirst, or oxygen consumption. Other talents will give you more resistance to cold, heat, diseases, and so on. Using the blueprint tree, you can craft items to collect and transport water, make different food with different stats and buffs. You can also craft machines to produce and transport oxygen. You can also craft different medications, supplies, and gear that offer varying protection against the elements, diseases, and creatures. Now, one thing I love about this game is that throughout the crafting tree, there is always a better way to do something. Better containers for water, more efficient ways of making oxygen, better armor, better medications, and so on. Which brings me to the next great feature of this game, the crafting. I will not go too in depth here, we've already talked about it a little bit, and to be honest, there is just so much to say. Just know that the crafting tree is extensive, it is split between 4 tiers, and you can craft a variety of things such as weapons, tools, armor, storage containers, food, medications, medical supplies, furniture, generators, radars, torches, electrical lights, fuel-powered exotic extractors. It is massive, and there is no doubt in my mind that this crafting tree will grow even bigger with upcoming updates and DLCs. Of course, we have our building mechanics, nothing too fancy here and pretty much what you would expect from any survival game. You have different tiers of building, thatch, wood, concrete, aluminum, to name a few, and each building pieces have different possible variations. Thatch and wood can be crafted directly from the crafting menu, but higher tier building pieces require different crafting benches and specialized resources and materials. Now let's talk about what I think is one of the weaker features of the game, the creatures and enemies. Although they do have a variety of creatures in game, such as wolves, lions, bears, polar bears, boars, mammoths, elephants, sandworms, cave worms, and so on, the enemies quickly become repetitive and monotone. You never feel like you are fighting a different bear, for example. You will encounter multiple bears, but it will feel like the same exact bear every time. The only difference being its level and how many hits it takes you to take it down. There is various bosses and unique fauna in game, which is great, but overall, most creatures will feel copy-pasted if you are to spend any considerable time in game. This is not a deal breaker for me. There is plenty of diversity, especially between biomes. The creatures offer varying levels of challenges, and trust me, some of them do offer a real challenge. And we must take into consideration that upcoming chapters will introduce more alien-like biomes and creatures. So enemies, not too bad, but could definitely offer more in my opinion. And just to end on enemies, for you people wondering about PvP, this being a co-op game, you do not have to worry about other players other than the occasional misplaced friendly arrow. And lastly, for the key features, let's talk about the map. The map is big and is divided into biomes: forest, Arctic, desert, and riverland. Each biome has its own fauna and will present you with different challenges. Unfortunately, I am not a fan of the map. Although the map is huge, it is divided into corridors by unpassable mountains. You do have big open areas, but do not expect an open world type game. Also, depending on the mission, some parts of the map will be restricted and inaccessible. And finally, to me, everything just feels like the same. Wherever you are in the forest biome, you will see pretty much the same thing. Wherever you are in the desert biome, you will see the same thing, and the Arctic biome is the worst for this. Wherever you are in the Arctic biome, you will see exactly the same thing. Hopefully the introduction of more alien biomes in the future DLCs will help with this, and that is it as far as key features go. Now let's look at a few things I would like to see in game and some things I think could be tweaked. The main thing I think Icarus needs to do to really set itself apart from the other survival games right now is build up on their mission system. The missions are at the core of the game loop and they give purpose to the game. I find that what a lot of survival games lack is purpose. You survive simply because that is what the game is. In Icarus, you build up and you survive to complete your mission. I think they need to add more variety to the missions. They have plenty of available missions, but most of them revolve around the same core. I would like to see more challenges inside of missions. Let's say you need to go from A to B in a mission. I would like to see things like a large ravine you need to build over, or maybe a raging forest fire you need to navigate through. I would like to see more intense, high risk, high reward missions. The sort of mission where if you don't start crafting as soon as you leave the pod and you spend time sightseeing, well, you fail. I like to see character build specific missions where if you want to complete the mission, you need specific talents like speed or cold resistance, for example. I'd like to see the mission roster to be so extensive and diverse that it would be nearly impossible for the average gamer to complete them all. Now, do not get me wrong, the missions right now are okay. There is plenty of them, they are diverse enough, and they do offer a good challenge. All I'm saying is that I feel missions is one of the core mechanics that should be continuously expanded upon. Another thing I would want to see is more diversity in creatures. Right now, every wolf you encounter is the same wolf, every hyena you encounter is the same hyena, every deer you encounter is the same freaking deer. I'd like to see slight visual variations such as size and color, but what I'd really like to see is variations in their stats, different move speed, different vision ranges, different levels of aggression. I like to see different AIs. Let's say some wolf might attack you on sight, another wolf will wait for his pack before he attacks you. This would keep me on my toes and give me a true sense of surviving on a hostile planet. For now, when I encounter a wolf, I know exactly what's going to happen. When I encounter a bear, I know exactly what's going to happen. And last little thing I think they could improve is the storm mechanics. They are weather events that happen either at random or are scripted in certain zones. And basically, if you stay in the weather event for too long, at some point you will have a debuff. Now, I'm probably not going to get much love for what I'm about to say, but I believe storms should be way less forgiving. I can walk straight through most weather events and just keep on doing whatever it was I was doing. Now, all storms do not need to be F5 tornadoes, but I'd like for most storms to have me stop what I'm doing and deal with it by either building a quick shelter, running back to base, or whatever device they could implement as storm protection. So let's recap the key features I believe Icarus is doing well. Session-based mission system. This is my absolute favorite thing and what drew me to Icarus in the first place. I love how you do have to continuously start over, but it doesn't feel too artificial. The progression system with the crafting tree, talents, and loadout items, there's plenty to look forward to. Progression is steady and doesn't feel too grindy, and I like how you get to customize your character to your liking and playstyle. The survival mechanics, although they're a bit too simple in my opinion, I really like how how the crafting tree and talents offer you so many ways to deal with thirst, hunger, oxygen, and the elements. Also, you do get a true sense of progression when you get to the higher tier items, and managing those metrics become less of a chore. The crafting is another big plus here. Icarus has a huge crafting tree and pretty much every item type have different tiers. And lastly, the building mechanics. Icarus doesn't do anything new, but it already has a solid foundation. There is plenty of building piece option and multiple tiers. So, is Icarus a game worth playing going into 2022? To me, absolutely. It offers enough new ideas to the survival genre to at least give it a try. They have an interesting roadmap ahead, and the team seems committed to making a good PvE focused survival game. And I really hope I've given you a good enough picture of what Icarus is and what the key features are, so you can decide for yourself if Icarus is a game you want to play in 2022. And I am curious as if you will be playing Icarus or not, and why. Let us know in the comment section below. If you've enjoyed this video and want to see more, please take the time to subscribe, like this video, comment below, and share. Do not forget to join our wonderful community on Discord. Thanks for watching, thanks for your support, and we'll see you in the next one.